This is Shondell Jackson, who is in Milwaukee County Courthouse for his sentencing after being convicted of murdering a university student. 18-year-old Jackson and his friend were reportedly searching for victims when they saw Nathan Potter leave a bar. Potter, a 21-year-old college student at the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee, was targeted by the pair. They stalked him, confronted him, and demanded money. When Jackson realized Potter had no cash, he shot him, killing him instantly, officials said. The day after the murder, Jackson fled to Mississippi. His uncle later tipped off the police about his whereabouts, leading to his arrest. During the trial, Jackson was seen making gestures toward the victim's family. As he was escorted out of the courtroom, he even smiled at them. Before sentencing, Jackson's mother addressed the court, recalling how she first learned about the killing.
Case rises to that level.
However, when the judge sentenced him to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole, Jackson reacted with an outburst. As deputies restrained him, one of his family members was heard screaming at the victim's family. While Jackson now serves a life sentence, his friend, who acted as the lookout, pleaded guilty and was sentenced to 12 years in prison. This is Brandon Spencer in Los Angeles County Superior Court, where he was charged with 4 counts of attempted murder. On October 31, 2012, 19-year-old Spencer was at a crowded Halloween party on the University of Southern California campus in Los Angeles when gunshots suddenly rang out. Panic erupted. People ran in fear, while others hid. Spencer also fled but was stopped in a parking lot half a mile away where LAPD officers picked him up for questioning. A few days later, he was charged with 4 counts of attempted murder. 4 people were injured, but thankfully, no one was killed.
21-year-old Brandon Spencer of Inglewood bangs his head as a judge sentences him to 40 years to life after he was convicted of shooting a rival gang member at a 2012 Halloween party on the USC campus.
Prosecutors argued that the shooting stemmed from a feud between Spencer and a rival gang member. However, Spencer maintained his innocence throughout the trial. As the judge read the sentence, nearly 50 family members and friends packed the courtroom. Overcome with emotion, Spencer banged his head on the defense table, forcing sheriff's deputies to restrain him. In the end, he was sentenced to 40 years to life for 4 counts of attempted murder. This is Martise Fuller, who faced trial in Kenosha County, Wisconsin, charged with the murder of his ex-girlfriend and the attempted murder of her mother. According to reports, 15-year-old Fuller broke into his ex-girlfriend's home armed with a handgun. She was in her bedroom listening to music when he shot and killed her. Hearing the gunfire, her mother rushed out of her room and came face-to-face with the shooter. She was shot twice but survived and later identified Fuller to the police.
We, the jury, find the defendant guilty of first-degree intentional homicide.
At the trial, Fuller pleaded not guilty, but the jury disagreed. After hearing the verdict, Fuller displayed what appeared to be emotion for the first time during the trial. During sentencing, he maintained his innocence. Before the judge delivered his fate, Fuller had a statement prepared. Finally, the judge then handed down the sentence.
The jury deliberating 3.5 hours to reach its decision.
As Fuller was sentenced to spend the rest of his life behind bars, he showed no visible reaction. This is Dylan Shoemaker in a Buffalo, New York courthouse for his sentencing after being convicted of second-degree murder. At 16, Dylan Shoemaker was babysitting his girlfriend's 23-month-old son, Austin Smith, while she worked. On March 19, 2013, in their Springville, New York home, Shoemaker became frustrated with Austin's crying.
Regardless of his behavior, Joseph Terranova defended 16-year-old Dylan Shoemaker, the Springville teenager accused of beating his girlfriend's toddler to death.
Mind your own business.
What the teenager blurted outside the courthouse.
He admitted to slapping, spanking, and eventually slamming the toddler on the floor, then punching him multiple times in the head through a pillow. Austin sustained severe injuries and was pronounced dead shortly after. Shoemaker was arrested and charged with second-degree murder and child abuse. During his trial, he claimed he never intended to harm Austin, stating he was trying to quiet the child. However, the jury found him guilty of intentional murder.
As you can see in my school records, I was trying to change my life around. In 2013, I was doing so much better. This completely turned my life. I can't take back what was done. I wish I could. I would give my life for Austin. I loved him a lot. Him and Christopher were half the reason I was even staying with Ashley. I felt bad for their kids because they didn't have a place to stay. I thought Christopher was lying, and he wasn't. I was trying to do something that my father never did for me, and be there. Ashley, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hurt your son. And you know I didn't mean to hurt you. You just can't accept that, because you know me. You've known me for 5 years. I never would have wanted to hurt Austin.
Before sentencing, Shoemaker entered the courtroom in tears, expressing remorse. Despite his emotional display, the judge referenced a recorded phone call Shoemaker made to his mother from jail. Initially, Shoemaker received a sentence of 25 years to life. Upon appeal, the sentence was modified to 18 years to life. This is Mackenzie Shirilla, who is facing trial at the Cuyahoga County Court, charged with murder. 17-year-old Mackenzie Shirilla has been found guilty of murder after causing a car crash that killed her boyfriend and his friend. On the day of the crash, Shirilla was driving with her boyfriend, Dominic Russo, and his friend, Davin Flanagan, when she sped into the side of a commercial building in Cleveland at 100 miles per hour. Both men were pronounced dead at the scene, while Shirilla survived. Investigators revealed that she had a history of making violent threats against her boyfriend and had even threatened to break into his house.
I'm not Latavia. I'm so deeply sorry.
Prosecutors claimed she deliberately crashed the car with the intent to kill. Further evidence showed that she had driven the same route days before the crash, allegedly planning the crime. Before her sentencing, Shirilla had a chance to speak. However, the evidence painted a different picture. There were no signs of a medical emergency or mechanical failure. The prosecution dismissed any suggestion of a failed suicide attempt as a defense. The judge ultimately found her guilty on both counts of murder.
This trial is a culmination of decisions made by one person, the defendant. Those decisions have forever altered the futures of 3 families, and of you also, Mackenzie. The totality of the evidence clearly demonstrates that Mackenzie Shirilla acted purposely and intentionally. In the early morning hours of July 31st, 2022, her purpose was to kill Dominic Russo and Davin Flanagan. No reasonable fact finder could view the totality of this evidence in this case and come to any other conclusion. Her actions were controlled, methodical, deliberate, intentional, and purposeful. This was not reckless driving. This was murder. The court renders the following verdicts. Count 1. The court, having had count 1 tried to it pursuant to waiver, finds the defendant, Mackenzie Shirilla, guilty of murder, to wit Dominic Russo, in violation of Ohio Revised Code Section 2903.02a, as charged in count 1. Count 2. The court, having had count 2 tried to it pursuant to waiver, finds the defendant, Mackenzie Shirilla, guilty of murder, to wit Davin Flanagan, in violation of Ohio Revised Code Section 2903.02a, as charged in count 2 of the indictment. Count 3, murder.
As she stood to be handcuffed, she broke down in tears, showing a sign of regret. She was sentenced to 15 years to life on each count, to be served concurrently. Meet Damon Kemp, who was sentenced to prison for a double murder in Florida. On the evening of December 7, 2018, reports say Kemp shot and killed 19-year-olds Trey Ingram and Jordan Payton in a Daytona Beach apartment. Witnesses recalled hearing a loud bang during the incident. In court, Kemp, restrained in a wheelchair, grew agitated and shouted repeatedly,
God! 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 God!
I've reviewed your arrest warrant to
Is-
determine whether there's probable cause for your...
Kemp looked confused during the hearing, and as time went on, his expression became more and more disturbing. The victim's mother, who cried throughout the trial and even left the courtroom at one point, shared her pain, saying she would never hear her son's voice again. He was found guilty of 2 counts of second-degree murder and sentenced to 3 consecutive life terms in prison. This is Aiden Fucci, who was sentenced to life imprisonment for murdering his friend in Florida. A report revealed that Fucci stabbed and killed his 13-year-old classmate, Tristan Bailey, in a wooded area near their homes in Bailey, Florida.
The Snapchat you did was not very smart.
About how many people want to burn our house down, our cars down. Because of that Snapchat thing you did. You're all over the internet, everywhere. Social media.
It is on social media. You're probably going to stay with me after we get done with this. Just for your well-safe being.
This is seriously.
It's very serious.
This is no joke. This is your whole life. Your whole life.
And yours.
And ours. And your brothers and sisters. And don't forget, it goes so wrong. Because the kids will hurt them.
Security footage showed Tristan with Fucci on the night of the crime. Later, Fucci was seen running away. Before this, he had told his girlfriend and a friend that he wanted to kill someone, and Tristan sadly became the victim. Fucci was arrested after Tristan went missing, and while sitting in the back of a police car, he posted on Snapchat.
We're having fun in a f***ing cop car.
Yep. Tristan.
What's up, guys?
Yep.
Tristan, if you f***ing walk out the damn...
When you see this in a month...
During the trial, Fucci looked confused and lost. He admitted to all the charges and apologized to the victim's family. Tristan's sister gave an emotional impact statement in court.
Mr. Fucci, having entered a plea of guilty to the crime of first-degree murder, I adjudicate you guilty of the premeditated first-degree murder of Tristan Bailey. I sentence you to life in prison.
The judge stated that this was the most shocking case of his career, pointing out that the crime was carefully planned and that Fucci meant to kill someone. Fucci was sentenced to life in prison with no chance of parole. What are your thoughts on these reactions? Feel free to share, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos like this.